G'day YouTube, my name's Lance. Welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report, hot and humid. Yeah, look, it's 32 degrees. The overnight temperature gets down to 23. So yeah, 23 to 32 is our day. Yeah, the 32, it makes you sweat a bit. I've had to take up drinking a bit more beer over Christmas just to, put your fluids back, stay healthy, that sort of thing. But yeah, look, it's still been quite dry. There's been storms coming because of the humidity that builds up storms, and yeah, the storm's been going to the south, going to the north. There's a joke in Bundaberg that Bundaberg's got a dome over it and the storms go round. Well, last night was the example of that again. It was close enough to have a really nice lightning show. Not much breeze involved, but a really nice lightning show. And the storms went out to the north, but down over the south there, oh, the bloody chain lightning coming across the sky was really worth looking at. We had a dinner here last night for the family, and young Arrow, he's turning 7, but on the 20th, when his birthday is, they're going down with his dad and young Freya. On the 19th, they've got to be in Brisbane for the heart checkup for Freya. And the way her lungs were working and to tear arsing around yesterday evening, I'm expecting good news. I don't think it'd be too much wrong with her. She's still at a stage where you can't pick her up under the arms in case she gets sores in the chest and that. But last night we had this, we've got a bucket of blocks, different sizes, and you put the triangle one and the circle and the square one down through the lid. Well, she was picking that up and walking around with it, no worries at all. So yeah, if she was a bit sore, you wouldn't think she'd be doing that. So probably a good thing. I mean, so yeah, this morning they're off to Brisbane, and it must be what, the 18th? Yeah, off to Brisbane today, and they're going to stay with Ellie's brother overnight. And the 19th, they're off to the hospital, have Freya's checkup, and then they drive look, with the kids, takes about 6 hours to drive home. And that way they'll be here, I'll be at home in Arrow's house for his birthday on the 20th. So they're trying to do that, but because we weren't sure who had the kids, whatever, we had a Sunday night family get together for Arrow's birthday last night, and he had his cake, and he got the Grandma Poppy presents. He'll have more, on his birthday, I'm sure. So, but yeah, young Arrow, he's scared of storms, and his mum, which is Tim's ex-missus, she's just scared of storms. Like if there's a storm there, shut everything up, and so she's passed that on to the kids. And I had a dog once, and the dog was shit scared of storms. Like a storm would start rumbling, and we couldn't even hear the storm coming, and the dog would be starting to shake and bloody carry on. And every other dog we had, while we had that one, learnt that bad behaviour off her. And so we had like 10 years of dogs that hated storms, and you'd have to make sure they were tied up or inside or something like that so they didn't get scared and piss off on you. And it's a learnt thing. And yeah, Breeze, with her fear of storms, Arrow's shit scared of them. And you're flat out getting him outside to have a look at the lightning, and we are getting him out there now. We're trying to desensitise him, but Airy, his sister, well, she's fine. She'll be out there having a look, saying how pretty it is and all that. But yeah, just silly what people do to their kids, I reckon. Yeah, well, so in this storm season, we're all out trying to have a look and just trying to show that there's nothing to be scared of. And we wouldn't be out there if there's anything wrong. But anyway, just how it works, I suppose. Pardon me. Bit of asthma through the week here. Pardon me. Yesterday, I slashed the entire place. The back paddocks here were getting a little long, and we were sort of expecting storms, and we are expecting a bit of rain. This is our wet season. So I jumped on the tractor and I did all of the paddock. I'll get the camera out the front there later and show you. And yeah, look, the paddock looks beautiful. really nice. The tank out the back of the main shed here, it was just starting to overflow from just, we got a storm the other night and we got 2 millimetres in a bit of rain, and just the edge, we're just catching the edge of it. And so yeah, I've been running the pressure pump and I've watered all the orchard out of the tank water out of this tank so it doesn't overflow everywhere. And yeah, if we get half an inch of rain, well, that thing will be overflowing again. So I watered all the trees, I sprayed them with white oil. They were starting to get a few little bugs and little knickknacks around them, so they've had a white oil spray and they should be right. So this week, well, it's Christmas next week on, was it Sunday, Monday, something like that. Christmas is coming, get ready. Running down, the shops are shut for 12 hours, so go and buy bloody 30 days worth of food, quick, while you got a chance. Yeah, but Christmas is just after this next weekend. So Saturday I'll do all the mowing up the front because Christmas is at our place. So there'll be Jude and myself, Adele and Tim and Ellie and Airy and Arrow and Freya and my mum, Nana, and Ellie's mum, Sherry, and then her grandma, Molly. So yeah, so we're going to have a full table. Yesterday we got the extra table inside in the aircon and all set up for dinner last night, so we're going to leave that set up. But so next weekend, yeah, before next weekend at least, I'll try and do the mowing. Pardon me. Part of the asthma's from the slashing too, you get the crap out of the grass. So yeah, then the whole place will be done and we'll get a couple of weeks out of that, but it is a growing season. But this last week we only had, I think, 2.5 millimetres out of the storms that come around, so we'll just see how we go. I got the videos out last week on the steering cylinders, and there is a video coming out this week on the cylinder that was welded, and I ended up being able to put it in the lathe. I've put a centre there and I've machined the thread off here, and there was enough thread there to get in there. So what's going to happen today, and I will try and film it, is I've got to tape all this up with masking tape and just run a hot little weld around there. And then cool it quickly so any nylon in this steering joint doesn't melt away. And then we'll put the rubbers on and do all that. Now, the little olive that was missing out of the other cylinder, I whizzed up and I've made one of them. And I've swept this floor and everything where that, well, I didn't see that little ferrule, whatever we'd like to call it, come out of the cylinder when I pulled it apart. I just didn't see it. And I've swept the floor and everything and I can't find it anywhere. So, yeah, so I just went up and made one. And while I've had the lathe going, we were running out of PDO hubs, so I made a few of them last week. And there's an engine over here, it's a 3 horsepower International Famous that the Rum City Vintage Machinery Club owns, which is our local vintage machinery organisation. And it was a donation to our club from the Truscott family, and the old fella passed on, so they let us, as a club, have the engine. And I've had it here for quite some months, a long time. And I machined up, the top of the water pump, they're water cooled, and there's a plunger water pump, and I machined up the nut and all for that. I still have to put a probably half BSP tapered thread in the top there for the pipe. But I've been leaving that until I get everything all sorted and just see what it looks like. But I pulled the head off last week, and all the rocker gear, the bolts were sloppy, and old blokes playing with stuff, they should be banned. Yeah, there's a main pivot for the rocker, and what's supposed to happen is the main pivot has got a shoulder on it, then the nut does up, and that pivot is held really firmly, and then there's a greasable hole in the rocker and it can just work through. But yeah, that was loose so the whole thing could turn, so I've had to ream the hole out in the tower and then make an oversized bolt to take the slop out. And on the other end, it's the same deal. There's a bolt with a shoulder on it and there's a push rod comes up, and that's got a hole in it to grease it, so the push rod gets clamped firmly on the bolt, and then the rocker moves within that sort of thing. So that's all been bodged up. So I've made a new pin for that. I had to, and it's just how manufacturing's changed. On the end of the push rod, I'll do a little video just on that head when I get up to the office. It's in my office where I'm fiddling with it. And yeah, where the thread comes up, like there's a push rod so long with a thread at each end, and it screws in, then there's two flats. Well, when you have the thread straight at the bottom here, the top where the shaft goes was crooked as buggery. And so I oversized that. I took that oversize to square it up. But once I got that squared up, the sides, the two sides that are supposed to be clamped firm so you have a straight push, they were out like 3 or 4 degrees. So, and I know they back in 1900, look, I think this might be a 1911 or 14, in that some stage. But some things, they're really fussy with their engineering, and this engine just, and it has to have been like that from new, like it's had the original machine marks coming out, and it's got to be crooked from new, and it must have just had that much slop in everything out of the factory that they got away with it. So I've fixed that up, but I will show you a video on that. Then the exhaust pipe, it's got a 2-horse muffler on the 3-horse, so I have a spare aluminium casting of a 3-horse muffler with the right size pipe, because the old blokes at the club, when they got it going for their first display, they welded up fittings and looked shit. And so I'm going to donate, I'll probably take the 2-horse muffler. I can probably use that on my non-Perel, and I'll supply the new 3-horse muffler and roll up the outer for it. And that should have the original muffler. And but yeah, I went to the irrigation place, and where the pipe comes out of the head and does a 90, they had a steel fittings there with threads. I think it's 1.5 inch, BMPT, I imagine, in the States. And yeah, you can't buy them without having the big gal ones with the hump on them. So I've either got to buy a gal one, put it on a pipe and turn the hump off to make it look original, or I've actually bought a weld fitting, and I may be able to weld a nipple on and machine it up. So we'll see. But anyway, I've just ordered a heap of parts for it. About $300 worth of parts out of Starbolt in the USA, new rings and just the valve springs and things like that have gone weak. And what happens over time, the old blokes get them and they stretch them, and they're just not right. And like, I've had a heap of these engines over the years, and I can get them running beautifully, but you've got to have valve tensions and all that. It is important to have it right. So I'm still yet to cut the seats in the head and do the valves, but I thought I'd get all these pivots, all these machining things finished first. So I spent quite a bit of time on that last week. Well, it wasn't bad. I was in the air conditioning, and so that went all right. I still haven't done the air cleaner or the foot throttle on the Massey 20 yet. I've ordered the kingpin and all that, but my rep that looks after me for that stuff, he's been called away. I think he might have family problems, as in, yeah, he was telling me one time his grandparents are, you know, not the best, but so he's just disappeared. They said he's been called away, so we just got to wait. There's no big deal. We'll just wait, and I can get the whole tractor going, you know, as it is with that. But there's plenty to do. Like, you know, I have to pull the air cleaner off and clean all that out because I didn't have the duck's ass on it. The foot throttle, I've got to put that on, and I went over, had a look at the 148 yesterday, and trying to work out the angles for that so it's not so drawn out. So the power steering pump to put on, these steering cylinders. I didn't really want to put these steering cylinders back on until I had the kingpins and all that done, because you're putting stuff on, taking it off, but, you know, just mucking around, so I might as well do the whole thing. So, but yeah, this morning I will get this welded, and I will get the boots on. I won't film putting the boots on, I filmed that for the other cylinder. and they should be right to go. The Sparex kit fitted well. The cylinder off the 135, it looks like a later cylinder, but I don't know. I haven't worked out all the dates properly. Over on the bench here, we have a pipe here. Now, this pipe, I tried to buy these off Massey Ferguson, and on a 65 with a 203 engine, where the radiator hose comes out of the water pump, that's this shorter one, it comes out here and there's a little flexi hose there. And then they've got to have the pipe here, because if you have a hose there, where the fan belt comes up, it rubs on the hose and rubs through. So they've got this little pipe there, then there's another flexible pipe here. So I've got a nice stainless one made for mine, just showing off. And anyway, Massey Ferguson had one of these pipes in stock ages ago, and then they couldn't say when we were getting them, so we've been making these. So I'm halfway through a run of these, and they start off like that, and then we have to cut and shut, and that's today's job because we need them. Then sand up here, so we've got to cut them to length, sand them up. Yeah, that's not a leak. I better check that. I will check that. Looks like a bit of porosity in the weld. I might have to touch up their weld in there. Just there. So, yeah, we get the local exhaust place to make these, and last lot we got done lasted us, we got 12 months worth. Yeah, I think it was just 12, not quite 12 months worth, about a dozen of them. And yeah, the business has changed hands since, so we had to talk to the new people and get them going. And of course, with the new people, the price has gone up and all that. So that's just how it is. So yeah, today I've got to do these, sand up where the heat's been here. Any big dags I put on the belt sander and tidy up, and then I usually put zinc on them. You know, the dry gel sort of stuff. But yeah, it needs blowing out, like it's got shavings inside there, and needs deburring. This one needs deburring yet, so we've got to do all that and deburr them, tidy them up, sand them here, even just a little bit of that rust converter through here, and then a bit of zinc paint over top. So I've got 12 of them to do today, and yeah, the new people at Rum City Exhaust, yeah, we ordered 12. Yeah, come and pick them up. Went and got them home, and there's 11. I said to Jude, how many of these did you order? And she said 12, and we paid for 12, and there was only 11. So we rang them up, and oh, fair enough. So we had to head back into town then, and the next day, yeah, they said, oh, we'll have one made tomorrow for you. So next day, off into town again. So hopefully I'll get them. That does have me a bit worried, that little mark there. So this will be getting filled with water and a bit of an airline banged up it just to make sure it's in good order. But yeah, so I've got 12 of these to sort out and make into these, and then to paint and seal up and all that, so we've got a good product. So that'll keep me hopping here. Me dicky knee, well, that bloody thing. I've been trying to stay off it as much as I can and scoot around on my little stools with the chairs and things like that, but in a big shed like this, whatever you want is down this end when you're down that end, or vice versa. So I am walking on it a bit, and last week I was pretty happy that it was feeling a lot better. Then on Saturday I only had 2 Panadol for the day, and that sort of helped it out, but that night it wasn't good. So it's still there, it's just getting masked with the painkillers really. And then yesterday, jumping on the tractor, I thought, well, that'll be all right, jump on the tractor and do the slashing. Well, the vibration coming up, that bloody give her a caning yesterday. But anyway, that's just life, eh? Just how it is. Jude's got a bit of a sore back at the moment. Yeah, so she's been doing something. You know, she likes in the garden and that, but she's probably zigged when she sort of zagged, and that's playing up a little bit. So Christmas coming up, there's cooking happening, and the kitchen's just a bloody buzz. And Adele's coming to help next week, so So there we go. Oh, the dash on the 65 that I showed you last week, that's got those 3 patches in it. I spoke to my mate Gordon Ellis down in Inverell, New South Wales, and he's got a dash. He says, it's that good, Lance. He says, you just got to give it a kiss and a cuddle and put it on. And he had a battery box too. So that bodgy battery box, it's toast. So we had some other business going on in the background, and Tommy Horwood, which is Rural Wrecking, Tommy from Rural Wrecking, he lives near Gordon, and Gordon would help Tommy with a deal up this direction. So, so on the weekend, yeah, my new dash and my new battery box turned up, and it turned up out at Gayndah, which is 2 hours west of us here. So it travelled 7 hours or something on Tommy's truck for us, and then mate Kenny out there, he's going to bring it over probably second week in January and get it over here, save us going to drive for it. So, and he was saying it's really good, like he reckons it's a really good looking dash and battery box and all that. So that fixes that problem. That saves a lot of work, buggering around with that. I'll wait until I get the nice new panels and we'll go from there. But that's about all that's been happening here, apart from, on the new website, on the bundybearsshed.com.au website, I've now finished the 35 service bulletins. I finished the 65 service bulletins the other day, and I've finished the TEA 20 service bulletins. We'll probably move on to the 100 series this week, and I've got buckets of David Brown stuff and that, and we're just working through it. And I'm still working from home. I'm not going to work, so I'm up and down the steps. Went in to see him last week, but I'm still trying to keep off this knee because there's 16 stairs up to my office. So I'm trying to not stir it up doing that, but I'm finding there's plenty to do at home. Well, yeah, like making these parts. Well, that all used to happen after work and of a night time and on the Mondays that I don't go to work and things like that, and weekends. So I don't really have days off so much. And so I am still getting a lot done. This week I was hoping to get the fan shroud and all that back on the 65. I do have the fuel tank all cleaned up and pressure cleaned and all that. I want to get it out the front this week sometime and sand all the old paint off. It's in pretty good nick. Yeah, it looks to be nice and clean. And but yeah, I can't really mount the tank on the engine here until I get that new battery box that's coming. And when the battery box comes, I'll pressure clean it up and we'll deal with anything that it needs and put the battery box on before we put the dash on, and that'll let us mount the fuel tank. So so I've got a couple of weeks to get that tank all tidied up. So just out the front there, sitting on my stool near the pallet there, that'll do the job for us. We'll go from there, but just see. But look, that's about it for the stew for this week. Nothing really major went on. Yeah, I'll have to get onto these pipes and make sure that's a priority for this morning. I will take the camera up and show you what I've done to the head on the famous engine there. And we will weld this cylinder and let that cool and all that. Oh, the other thing, I've got the drill here. Now you may, if you watch the video on the steering cylinders, I've drilled the cylinders, and I've got the big Sparex. I've got the big Sparex roll pin kit here. What's that? An S68014. So I've got that here. I've got to work out the correct size roll pin. So I'm going to, like these are probably only 16mm 5/8 long. So I've got to find the right size, cut them to size first, and then pop the roll pins in just to stop these turning without us knowing. So the holes are there. I've got them all lined up. The holes worked okay. So I've got to put the roll pins in, and they'll probably have to sit for a little bit until I can sort out that front end. That seized kingpin is getting a bit better, but maybe this week I'll see how I go. I'll try and get the seized one out. Pardon me. And I've also, under the dash panel of the Massey Ferguson 20, that bottom panel was missing, and I had a Sparex one at work there, so I nicked that. I was in there the other day, I forgot about it, and I was in there the other day and I looked on the display and here's one, and I was, beauty, give me that, give it to the boys. Here, Ross, sort that out, write him off for me, please. And look, it's a pretty good fit. I still have to do just a little bit of tinkering. On the left-hand side, it comes round nice and even. On the right-hand side, I think the end where the bolts are a bit high. I might have to bring that edge down a little bit because there's a 1.5 millimetre gap, maybe 2 millimetre gap. And so it's sitting around nicely on one side, but on the other it's not. And the bolts on the bonnet that hold the back of the Massey 20 bonnet on, they should have a UNF thread in them. Well, the thread's been buggered over the years and they've put bolts and nylon lock nut washers over the back. So I'm going to go with that. I'm not going to take all the nuts off and machine up new nuts and tack them on. There's no need. It'll be fine. So anyway, we'll go handheld. I'll show you a little bit outside there where I've done the slashing, and I'll show you that panel on the 20, and I'll get up and we'll show you the head off the famous engine. I still haven't pulled the grill out of the Massey 135. I've got the silver mist paint here now for it. I got the paint last week, and part of the order I'm waiting on a Sparex is a new grill, and I was going to paint the new grill up, then just do a swap, one off, one on onto the 135, then take the 135 one off and paint it up and put it on the Massey 20, so do a shuffle. But because Caleb's away at the moment, yeah, that's not going to work till after Christmas sometime, so I'll see how I go. I may get that off and have a look. One of the headlights needs painting too because I just banged one on because I had a stone chip and broke one. So, but anyway, look, I don't want to pull that off until I can put the time into making it right. And the lower apron on the 135s all have a hole in it for the crank handle. I don't know who's ever going to crank a bloody Perkins over, but anyway. And the apron I have on it at the moment, being an aftermarket grill, it doesn't have the hole there, so I'm going to put the hole in. Yeah, Ken from out west, I gave him a Bearco lower apron and it didn't have the hole, so he put the hole in. And I said, they all got holes in them. I said, mine hasn't, but then the 20 has, and I've got an old grill outside off an old bonnet, and it's got it. So I went and started looking at pictures and they've all got it. But yeah, the lower apron, yeah, they should all have the hole in it. And Ken was saying he put the hole in and he heated it with the oxy and put the, rolled it, gave it that original rolled look, which is, I'll copy, monkey see, monkey do. So we'll go from there with that one, so see what happens. But look, that's it. I've waffled on long enough. Thanks for dropping by, everybody. Have a good week coming up to Christmas. Australia, up north, some places up north have had 1.54 metre of rain in 36 hours. So 1,054 millimetres of rain in 36 hours. There's places for their 5.5 day total are pushing 2 metres of rain. And so Cairns is flooded, the airport's flooded. Yeah, the whole place up north's a mess. And then my mate JD, he gets rid of, he transports seedling plants around the place. He was parked up on the side of the Newell parked up on the highway, had to go a different way because of bushfires down south in the forestry, down Pilliga way, I believe. So, so yeah, up there the whole place is shut down because of the rain, and that's left over from the cyclone. The rain depression they're expecting it on the pointy bit of Australia to come in from the east, pop into the west into the Gulf, but it got there and just stalled, and there is water everywhere. Yeah, it's just amazing. And some of the roads we were on recently when we went up on our Cape trip, the roads are all collapsed off the mountains and things like that. It's a big mess. So yeah, so some of those people aren't going to have a real good Christmas. But anyway, That's Australia. Land of extremes. All right, I'll shut up. We'll catch you next week, everybody. Thanks for dropping by. Stay safe, and yeah, we'll see you. Right, this side here, the touch is just under the key there. And then when you got this bit lifted up here, there's a couple of millimetre gap, but I'll probably take that edge there down a little bit, and this one here, there's room to move that a little bit too, so no big deal. Yeah, I still haven't done anything else with it apart from, you know, I haven't fitted the foot throttle, but I have put a bit of work into having a look at how it's going to work and the air cleaner. But yeah, this last week I just spent it on the steering rams and machining up in the cool. And if we come out the front here, the place is looking lovely. So looks like the autofocus on the camera doesn't want to work today. But yeah, it's looking nice. It's all there we go. We're going to have a little work now. But yeah, it looks like a park apart from the junk I've got hanging around. So yeah, the orchard's looking good. The whole paddock's looking nice. But yeah, you can see it's sort of dried off a little bit because we're not getting much rain and we're getting the heat through the day. But yeah, look, it's still good this time of year. That's all we can expect really. So yeah, got to be happy with that. Okay, well here's the head off the Rum City Vintage Machinery Club's 3-horse famous. And that's the original nuts, but you can see this pin here. We've made that. Now I had to open both ends of the rocker up to 9/16 to true it up so it actually ran in a nice even line there. I've made these new pins oversized and I've made it so it's a pretty snug fit in this tower. This tower was 3/8, I've taken it out to 7/16. And this pin here, this is where your push rod comes up from your engine, and the pin here is supposed to pivot inside that rocker. You can see the 2 oil holes there. So that has to be tight on the shoulder of this bolt. So the red piece here needs to be tight on the shoulder, and I've left about 1/8 thou there, side movement, when it's all nipped up, just so it'll keep that nice radius going. So I do have to run a die. I'll run a tap up the 2 nuts. They're a bit firm, and from holding this one you can just see a little blemish on there. So I'm going to pop that back in the lathe and just do a final polish on that. And what I'll probably do then is perhaps put a slight sandblast on it, just a bead blast, so when we paint it we haven't got the shiny surface here playing up. So that's what's happening with the club one. That's on my desk where I've been doing, I've got piles of books there to scan yet, and Ferguson manuals, and yeah, this is where I play when I'm not doing any work really. See how we go. But anyway, I just wanted to show you the head for the club engine, and it's all been sandblasted. I do need to cut the valves yet. It may even get new guides. I'm just not sure. Like, it wouldn't be any big deal to sit this head up on a couple of 1, 2, 3 blocks, get him nice and true and bore straight down, and then make it match the valves, and then that gives me a true surface for cutting the seats. So anyway, we'll just see how that goes.